Welcome back. Zapier also works with the invoicing application FreshBooks. And FreshBooks is primarily for those who do client work and do invoicing. So there are numerous automations inside of Zapier with FreshBooks. One in particular allows us to be able to move our FreshBooks clients to Google Contacts. And we can do it through this Zap. And we can start the process by creating this Zap. And FreshBooks is actually the trigger when a new client is created. What we're going to need to do is to connect our FreshBooks account. We will then allow Zapier to connect. We'll then test our connection. When we verify the success, we'll then click Save and Continue. We will choose the account that we're going to be working with. And then we'll click Continue. And once we click Fetch and Continue, our test is successful, and so now we'll click Continue. We'll now go through the process of creating the contact in Google Contacts. We will connect to a specific account. We will allow Zapier to manage our contacts. We'll then test our connection. Once we verify that success is available, we'll then click Save and Continue. Once we have all of our information, we can then click Continue. We'll now send the test to Google Contacts, and then we'll click Finish. And now our Zap is working. And now we can verify that the FreshBooks client has been added to our Google Contacts. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now Zapier works with custom form applications when you have submissions and when you are actually tracking data. And you can integrate with other productivity apps to perform different kind of automation. For example, Zapier works with the form application called JotForm. And we're going to select JotForm right now. JotForm has integrations with web apps like Google Sheets. For example, every time that there is a JotForm response, perhaps to a survey, perhaps to a form, you can have that person added to a Google Sheet. We're going to explore this application. And we're going to start the process by clicking Create this Zap. First, going to need to connect our JotForm account. And we will then click Yes, Continue. We will then authorize Zapier to use JotForm. And then we'll test our connection. Once we confirm that our connection is secure, we will then click Save and Continue. Then we'll select a form for submission. We'll now click Continue. And we'll first need to verify that we have at least one recent submission so that we can run the test. Once we confirm, we'll then click Fetch and Continue. Our test is then successful. We'll then click Continue. We'll now move to the Google Sheet creation. We'll then click Continue. We'll now click Continue. And then we'll select the Google Sheets account and we'll click the test. We'll verify we have success and then we'll click Save and Continue. We'll then need to find a specific spreadsheet, then worksheet. Now we are required to place headers in our worksheets. So now that we've done that, we'll then click Refresh. And now that we have our spreadsheet set up, we'll now click Continue. We'll now send our test to Google Sheets. And we have a successful test. And now we have completed our Zap. Our Zap is then turned on and ready to receive our data. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. As you begin to use Zapier, one of the things you'll want to do is to think creatively about how you might use a particular integration. And typically, when you combine one or two of the applications, you may find a relationship there. For example, the custom form application JotForm also has a relationship with GoToWebinar through Zapier. We're going to explore this relationship in this Zap. We're first going to click Create this Zap. The trigger is going to be a new submission, so we're then going to click Continue. We're going to make sure that we have at least one submission created so that we can run the test, and then we'll click Fetch and Continue. Our test should be successful. We'll then click Continue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new registrant inside of a GoToWebinar. We're going to test our connection with GoToWebinar, and then we're going to save and continue. We'll fill in the required information, and then we'll click Continue. We'll then send the test to GoToWebinar, and then we'll click Finish. Our Zap is then officially turned on, and our test was successful in placing the individual on GoToWebinar. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, in this course, we've looked at multi-step applications that we can use to automate processes using Zapier. But we've also, by going to the search bar and typing in Zapier, we've found additional applications added by Zapier that give us added flexibility. For example, we have RSS feeds, we've looked at the SMS feed, we've looked at the scheduling feed, and we've looked at the email feed. And indeed, there are even more than the ones that we highlighted in this course. In fact, if you look carefully, you'll see that there is a translation feed as well as a storage feed. We also discussed the process for setting up events, tracking them, as well as using them to add people to your contact list. We also looked at the integration of forms into your automation mix. Finally, we discussed webhooks, which we didn't go into detail about in this course because it is beyond the scope. However, it is a way of connecting two applications that don't have native connections inside of Zapier. So again, you're encouraged to start with the app that you use and then look for the available connections with other apps you use. And if those don't work for you, to then begin to look and to sort by the categories in the drop-down menu. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.